Welcome to History AI, where we bring history to life through the power of AI. Today, we are looking at the history of our original 13 colonies, how they came to be, and the part they played in the United States of America's path to independence. Each of the 13 colonies established in what is now the United States had its own unique reason for existence, shaped by distinctive blends of hope, ambition, and necessity. Jamestown, Virginia, founded in 1607, was primarily an economic venture where English settlers aimed to profit from the New World's natural resources. The success of this settlement encouraged further pursuits on the continent. Massachusetts, established by the Puritans in 1620, was grounded in the quest for religious freedom. These settlers hoped to build a community that reflected their values, free from the persecution they faced in England. New Hampshire, settled in 1623 and made official in 1635, initially focused on fishing and trade along the coast, reflecting an economic motive mingled with the desire for a new life away from English oversight. Maryland, established between 1632 and 1634, was a safe haven for Roman Catholics facing discrimination in Protestant England. George Calvert, Lord Baltimore, and his family planned and ruled Maryland with a vision of harmony. Connecticut, officially recognized as a colony in 1636, was established out of a desire for both religious and governmental freedom. Its settlers wrote the Fundamental Orders, effectively the first written constitution in America. Rhode Island, founded in 1636 by Roger Williams and companions banished from Massachusetts for differing beliefs, stands as another monument to the pursuit of religious liberty, known for its acceptance of various faiths. Delaware's foundations were laid by Swedish settlers in 1638 and quickly became a point of contention among European powers before coming under British control. The Carolinas, established in 1663, had a blended motive of profit from agriculture and strategic buffer against Spanish Florida. Georgia, established last in 1732 by James Oglethorpe, was a buffer state and a philanthropic experiment offering a fresh start for England's indebted. New York and New Jersey originated as Dutch commercial enterprises in the mid-1600s, underscoring the economic motivations mingled with European geopolitical competitions. Both were captured by the English and renamed. Pennsylvania, founded by William Penn in 1681 as a Quaker refuge, symbolized tolerance and peace and played an important role in early American democracy. Each colony moved from European to colonial governance in its own way, reflecting an extraordinary diversity in culture, economy, and governance, an evolving journey from founding to statehood. In colonial America, economic and social structures varied based on each region's geography, resources, and the settlers' origins and motives, shaping social hierarchies and relationships within the colonies. Virginia became synonymous with tobacco cultivation, introduced by John Rolfe in 1612. This cash crop was the backbone of Virginia's economy, demanding extensive labor through indentured servitude and later, slavery. Many poor English immigrants arrived as indentured servants, trading several years of labor for the promise of land or money. As demand grew, African slaves were introduced more widely by the mid-17th century. In New England, the economy was driven by dense forests and rugged coastlines. Shipbuilding, utilizing abundant timber resources and settlers' maritime skills, became a central industry alongside fishing and trade. New England displayed a more diversified settlement pattern with smaller farms and a mercantile class emerging in towns like Boston, contrasting with the plantation-centric economy of southern colonies. Social structures in New England were generally shaped by Puritanism, emphasizing a stricter societal order governed by religious doctrine. This often meant restrictive policies towards dissenters. Indigenous relationships ranged from cooperation to conflict, sometimes decaying into overt hostilities like King Philip's War. In the Carolinas, the economy was shaped by geography conducive to farming and cash crops. North Carolina focused on tobacco cultivation, while South Carolina capitalized on rice and indigo production. The intensive labor required solidified slavery as a fundamental part of the Carolinas' social and economic life. Interaction with Native American tribes varied across regions, from peaceful exchanges and trading to conflict and displacement. Frontier zones saw continuous tensions, often inflaming violent encounters. Each colony exhibited differing reliance on slave labor, with peripheral economic roles filled by indentured servants from Europe. These patterns of work and social stratification profoundly affected the cultural and political development of the colonies, setting the stage for a distinct American identity. Disagreements over policies and governance intensified between the British authorities and their American colonies, sowing seeds of rebellion, particularly through events like the Boston Tea Party, and stimulated by Enlightenment ideas championing liberty and self-governance. Rising tensions were triggered by heavy taxation imposed on the colonies without their representation in British Parliament. The catchphrase, "no taxation without representation," became a rallying cry. The Stamp Act of 1765, requiring many printed materials to be produced on stamped paper made in London, provoked widespread resistance. The Townshend Acts of 1767 imposed duties on essential goods, leading to further unrest and organized protests. The situation escalated with the Boston Tea Party of 1773, where colonists, outraged by British tax policies, boarded 3 British ships and dumped 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor as a direct protest against the Tea Act, granting the British East India Company monopoly on tea sales in America. This act of defiance illustrated colonial resistance to perceived unjust British rule. Enlightenment ideas, such as John Locke's natural rights to life, liberty, and property, found a keen audience among the colonists, questioning traditional modes of authority and suggesting a government's legitimacy stemmed from the consent of the governed. In 1774, the First Continental Congress gathered in Philadelphia, bringing together representatives from each colony to formulate a response to the British government's increasingly militaristic posture around Boston following the Tea Party. The Continental Congress decided on united actions, including boycotting British goods. As dialogues failed, violent confrontations erupted into open warfare with battles at Lexington and Concord in April 1775, marking the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. Continued solidarity among the colonies led to the drafting and adoption of the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776. Severing political ties with Great Britain and birthing a new sovereign nation founded on Enlightenment ideals. These steps towards independence laid down the foundational philosophy for what would later mature into the United States of America. Sources that were used for this video. 1. Taylor A. American Colonies, The Settling of North America, New York, Penguin Books, 2002. 2. Middleton R. Colonial America, A History, 1565-1776. 3rd ed. Malden, M.A., Blackwell Publishers, 2002. 3. Wood G.S., The American Revolution, A History, New York, Modern Library, 2002. 4. Balin B., The Ideological Origins of the American Revolution. Cambridge, M.A., Belknap Press of Harvard University Press, 1967.